Hi, here's the next episode of Unplugged. We're currently in the Peak District and are about to drive 244 miles home. Stay tuned. I want to start this video by thanking everyone that subscribed to the channel. This morning when I checked, 18 people have subscribed and it really is much appreciated. I know it sounds silly, but I can't believe that 18 people so far have actually wanted to follow this journey. So no, it really is much appreciated. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video if you've enjoyed it, dislike it if you haven't. Yeah, and also maybe hit the bell icon so every time I release a new video, you'll get notified. Yeah, it really is much appreciated. It's lovely. So as I said earlier, we've got 244 miles to drive home. But actually, technically, that's not true because we're going to make a couple of stops. So in total, we've got 257 miles miles to cover. Last night, we went to a pub for dinner and I charged the car. We drove back to this holiday cottage. We're just outside Sheffield, like 6 miles from Sheffield. And this morning I've been out and checked the car and we've got between 159 and 162 miles of range. I've set the car to like be in eco mode because, well, I personally prefer driving in eco mode at higher speed because the pedal's less sensitive. So it's not so, the speed doesn't change as drastically just by like small throttle inputs. Yeah, so obviously we're not going to make it all the way home. So we've decided to break the journey into three sections. We're going to stop at Lidl and Milton Keynes because we currently haven't got any provisions or anything at home, so we need to stop and do a bit of shopping as we've not been there all week. That's 124 miles away. We could go further because, like I say, the car's got, I think, 160-ish miles of range. We could go further, but as we need to stop, it kind of makes sense. Also, it's going to break the journey up. That's like halfway. So that'd be quite nice. We're in no hurry today, so we're happy to break the journey up. Then we're going off to IKEA in Croydon because, as you can see, I bought some new shirts, so I need some new coat hangers for those. That's only 82 miles from Milton Keynes, so I'm not envisaging that we're going to have any problems with regards to charging today. And then from IKEA to home, it's only 52 miles. I'm going to top up at IKEA because we haven't got our home charger installed yet. And I plan on going out this evening, so I want to make sure I've got some range. But fortunately, our charge point's being installed tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. So there'll be a video about that, I'm sure. So yeah, so stay tuned, watch the journey and see how we get on. Hiya, so we've just arrived at Lidl. Well, I say we've just arrived, we've been here for about 10-15 minutes. I've sent Bill off to get the shopping while I faffed around with the charger. Stuck the car on charge, and in total we've travelled 124.3 miles. So I've made some little notes on my phone. That was it. And when we left, we should have had, or by the time we arrived here, we should have had between 36 and 40 miles of range. I didn't use the air conditioning, and when we got here, the car had 39 miles of remaining range, so it's pretty reliable, the guessometer that they've, I'm calling it the guessometer, I'm assuming that's what it's called. Yeah, it's been pretty accurate and pretty reliable. For the first 60 miles, like, I just drove the car myself, and then for the remainder of the journey, because it was mostly motorway, I just put the cruise control on, set it to 70, and we probably drove 70 miles an hour the majority of the way. There was a section on the M1 where we were all restricted to 60 miles an hour, so that would have helped with the efficiency. Talking of efficiency, actually, we averaged 4 miles per kilowatt on this journey, so I don't think that's too bad considering we were at motorway speeds. So yeah, I think the average was about 50-52 miles an hour, our average speed, so can't complain at that. Also, this is my first, well actually I'll say it's my first encounter, it's my second encounter of a pod point charger. The first pod point charger we used was in a car park in Birmingham. That was free to use, so when I was there I had to sign up for the app and everything. Obviously now I've already got the app on my phone, came here and I had to top up my account with £10. Or you could do whatever you wanted. There was an option for a £5, but I know I need more than £5 worth of charge. So I put a tenner in. It's slightly annoying because if I don't use that full £10, I'm probably not going to be using a Pod Point charger at any point in the near future. So I'll either forget about it, won't use it, or I'll have a couple of quid when I next come to use it. But I can't really complain because it's cheaper than running a petrol or a diesel car, so that's okay. So yeah, we're just getting some charge. I think currently, I looked a couple of minutes ago, and we were already up to 88 miles of range, so it's charging relatively quickly. One thing I did notice here at Lidl and Milton Keynes is we actually parked in the other space, but the cable attached to the charge point isn't actually long enough to get round to the front of the car. Probably be fine if you've got a charge point flap on like the side of your car and you reversed. Oh no, yeah, it all does depend on what side of the car your charge flap is. Ours is obviously at the front. So yeah, that was a little bit annoying because they're actually tethered to the right hand side of the unit. So basically I just had to move the car over to the right hand space, which is fine because there's no one using it, but I can imagine that's quite frustrating if you come to use it and there's someone already charging and the cable that you need is not long enough to get to where you need to be. That said, actually, I don't know what happens if someone's already charging with like one of the other cables and you want to charge. I'd imagine that you can both run off of the same machine because there's two spaces. I don't know, I've not encountered that yet, so and I probably won't for a little while because I don't have any long journeys planned. But yeah, so next stop is we're off to IKEA, which I think is 82 miles away. So yeah, catch us at IKEA. Hi guys, so there's been a change of plan. The traffic on the way between Milton Keynes and Croydon has been horrific. We've just been saying stop-start traffic and I'm a bit fed up. I don't really need shirt hangers that desperately. So we've decided to scrap IKEA and we are now just heading home. We have actually got enough charge to get all the way home, but it would only leave us with about 8 miles of range. That's a bit too risky for me. So we've decided that we're going to stop at a place called the Red Line because they've got a Polar charger. It's on the A23, kind of near Haywards Heath. So stop there, have a bit of lunch while it charges, and then continue on home after that. It'd be quite good because then at least I'll have some battery in the car so I can zip around tonight. So I'm going to see my sister and whatever. So yeah, that's the plan. We will see you when we get to the Red Lion. So we've just arrived at the Red Lion. It's near Haywards Heath, is it? Yep. So from Milton Keynes to here is a 95-mile drive, and when we left Milton Keynes I put the car in eco mode, put the air conditioner on because I kind of wanted to see what sort of a difference and what impact that had on the range. So when we got to here we should have had 51 miles on the gasometer, and when we arrived here it had 45, so 6 miles out, which I don't think's too bad. Obviously I know the weather and everything's going to have an impact on that, but yeah, I don't think that's too bad. So it's living up. I know I can rely on the gasometer on the car. So from here, obviously we're just going to quickly go and have something to eat while the car charges. It's a Polar charger for anyone that's interested. Yeah, so when we finished here we're gonna go home, but we're gonna go home via Screwfix because I need to get some weed membrane because our garden's full of weeds. That's my task for the rest of the week, to dig those out and put some membrane down. Not that anyone cares about that, but yeah, so it's around 35 miles. I expect the car will be mostly charged. It'd be interesting actually to know whether this one has a translation error like the last Polar charge we used, because that happened, didn't it? And I remember ringing them up, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, so I will see you when we get home. So we've just got back home. The Polar charger at the Red Lion did the translation error thing again. So I've just looked on my app and there's nothing pending, because last time when we were at the Harvester and we had the translation error with the Polar charger, I don't think I was charged to charge the car. So I'd be interested in the next few days whether anything comes through, because it'd be nice if that was a free charge, because I've had a couple of those on our journey away, which is really nice. So when we charged up, because of the translation error, I don't know what percentage because the car doesn't display a percentage of battery, but we had 138 miles on the Guessometer. I drove in normal mode on the way home, and I flitted between having the aircon on and off, and yeah, I wasn't really driving very sensibly, so I wasn't expecting the range to be that good. Anyway, when we got back, I had 99 miles left on the Guessometer, so I spent 39 miles of range to cover a 35-mile journey. So even if you kind of push it, it's still okay. Like it's still fairly economical. Yeah, I'm just astounded by it. So in total, we have covered 970 miles in the last 11 days of ownership, which is quite a lot. But on the whole, it's been a really, really positive experience. I don't regret having got an EV. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the car has its niggles, but then every car does. Like, nothing's perfect. I quickly just added up how much we've spent on charges, divided that by the 970 miles, and this whole journey away has cost me 5.9p a mile, which is brilliant. But like I say, when the dealer gave us the car, he gave it to us fully charged. So obviously that was 3 miles there. We had a couple of where we'd paid to park in a car park, and they had free electric chargers, so I made use of those. So obviously that's driven down the cost of the per mile cost, because some of it has been free, because I'm not really taking into consideration the parking costs. Because we were on holiday, I would have paid for the parking regardless of what car I had. So yeah, I'm looking at that as being a bonus. Tomorrow, I'm really excited because we're having our home charger installed. We couldn't have it installed any sooner because we weren't here. So that's going to be quite nice to not have to use the public chargers anymore. I'm really looking forward to just coming home from work, plugging the car in, and then the next morning when I go out, it's all charged up, ready to go. And you don't really feel like you're paying for it because it's just coming out of your electric bill. Obviously, you are paying for it, but you're paying for it in an indirect way. But I'm going to be interested to know how it's going to affect my electricity bill. I hope you've enjoyed travelling home with us. I know it's been like a bit of a number heavy video, and it's not scientific or anything like that. I'm no mathematician, so yeah, sorry if it's been a bit boring, but when I was looking for EVs, I loved watching videos like this to sort of see what kind of range people was getting versus what the car said you could achieve. So if anyone out there is looking for an MG, you can kind of rely on the Guessometer as being relatively accurate. I'm kind of looking forward to the winter coming. I know we shouldn't wish away the summer, but I'm kind of looking forward to the winter to see how much that affects the range, having heated seats, having the heater on versus having the air conditioning on, for instance, and how reliable the Guessometer will be there. And also kind of now, like I'm home and I'm going to be driving to and from work, how efficient is the car going to be when, like, you drive home, it's parked overnight, and then the next morning you get in it and go and do that several times rather than just doing one long drive. So yeah, watch this space. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Keep your eyes peeled for the next one.